All right, so today we're going to be talking and answering the question, why is there a shortage of truck drivers? And so this is something that's been going on for quite some time now, actually. It's not super recent, but there are several main factors for why there is a shortage in trucking drivers. And so the first thing is the aging workforce. And so with that, the average age of truck drivers right now is 46, which is actually a lot higher than the industry average for a lot of other industries. So that being said, a lot of truck drivers are nearing retirement age or recently retired. And so with that, you're seeing this gap begin with truck drivers who are retiring or near retirement, and a lack of new drivers coming in. So the ATA reports that the industry will need to hire 1.2 million new drivers in the next decade to account for the current aging workforce, which is a huge number. So it just goes to show, as these truck drivers who have been doing this for years are getting older and new people aren't coming in who are young, you're getting this gap. And so that's a big problem. And that being said, this is another factor. COVID-19 really increased that issue. So during COVID-19, there was a lot more restrictions. There was a lot more restrictions, a lot of things going on. People were worried for their health. And so a lot of older drivers actually just went ahead and retired probably earlier than they were planning to, because they just didn't want to mess with all the regulations and all the craziness going on with COVID. But then at the same time, a lot of truck drivers were laid off due to decreased manufacturing, decreased shipping, and all kinds of stuff was just less was going on. There were shortages of all kinds of stuff, and so they were laying off truck drivers, and then, like I said, people were retiring early just because they did not want to deal with all the stuff that was going on in the industry during COVID-19. So that caused the workforce to decrease even more, and then again, at the same time, new drivers weren't coming in. So now things are open back up for a while, and it's still hard to get new drivers, which is the third thing I'm going to talk about, which is just the difficulty in attracting new drivers. It has kind of developed this stigma around being a truck driver that it's not a very desirable career. There's a lot to say, a lot of people who say they don't get paid enough for the demands. It's just a very demanding kind of job where you're having to travel a lot, be away from family a lot, and a lot of the new younger workforce just isn't interested in that. And so it's difficult to find new drivers just in recent years because of all of those things. So also, to drive a truck, you have to be 21. So to get your CDL and be able to drive a commercial vehicle, you have to be 21 years old. And so there's this issue where people get out of high school and it's not something that they can start doing when they get out of high school. So there's this gap in time where they would have to wait a few years and then decide to go into the trucking industry. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people want to find something that they can start right out of high school. And so that kind of puts a damper on them being able to hire people, younger drivers as well, just because of that gap in time. And then the last thing, is the growth of e-commerce. So now you've got the COVID-19 pandemic that kind of caused the shrinkage in workforce for the trucking industry. And at the same time, since the COVID-19 pandemic, e-commerce has picked up so much. So now we're shipping more than ever before. We're moving product around because of e-commerce more than ever before, and increasing the need for truck drivers, which automatically makes the shortage even more impactful on the trucking industry. Now we need more and we have less. So there's a lot of effects that this is having on the trucking industry, and hopefully it's something that they will be able to find a way to kind of minimize in the future.